Hey, this is Eric from TOURNA-MIX. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to do a quick mixing demonstration today using the song Holiday by the Cold City Kings. Okay, and the idea here is if it ain't broke, don't mix it. Okay, so this is a lesson in simplicity. Okay, I think a lot of times in mixing, we tend to overthink things and overprocess things. When really, especially when the tracks are good, there's often just not that much to do. So I'm going to attempt to mix this song today in 15 minutes. Now, it's not going to be a final mix. I mean, obviously with only 15 minutes, there's no time to automate, and I may not even process every track. But what I hope to show is that with very, very minimal mixing moves, we should be able to get this sounding really good just by getting a good balance and making some simple decisions, from an EQ and compression standpoint. So here we go. This is the session. I've organized it, okay? You can see here, it's all ready to go, but everything's at unity gain. I literally haven't done a thing. And before I begin, I just want to play the raw tracks for you for a second. Just going to pan the guitars and the snaps.
Come on, honey, let's take a ride.
Just going to mute the vocals for a second. All right, now I don't know about you, but that sounds really, really good to me. And, at least I'd say 20 or 30 of you have already submitted your mixes for this song this month. And some of you are doing a great job, but I have heard mixes that actually sound worse than what I just played you. And what I just played you is literally nothing. It's just the tracks imported into a new session, okay? I'm just going to keep those little panning moves there because they're inevitably going to have to happen. But let me take a quick swing at mixing this song in 15 minutes, okay? So what I'm going to do is just set up a really, really quick channel strip on each track, and I'll be right back. All right, so all I've done here is load up an instance of Pro Q3 and my favorite compressor AR1 on every single track, okay, just so I don't have to menu dive. And I've also set up a send here, which goes to a master reverb. In this case, I've chosen Capital Chambers, but you can use any reverb, obviously. This is just one I happen to like. Okay, so I kind of have basically all the tools I need here to hopefully get a solid mix. I'm going to throw one little rule here though into the mix, and that's I'm only going to use high pass filtering, okay, and I'm just going to keep it at a 6 dB slope, and I'm going to also only allow myself to use this tilt function on Pro Q3, set at about 700 Hertz. Okay, so these are the only mix moves I'm allowed to make when it comes to EQ. Compression, I'll just compress to taste, and I'll use a reverb. Okay, so let's see how this goes. I'm just going to minimize those. And just to show you that I actually am doing this on a timer, I'm going to bring this little timer up here, and we're just going to try to do this in about 15 minutes. So let me just press start here and see how it goes. All right, I'm going to just actually move that off screen here. I'll bring it back. Okay, so let's mix this song. It's always important to start with the most important elements, i.e. the elements that play for the full song. So I'm actually just going to mute everything that doesn't look important here. Right, all those tracks there, you can just tell by looking at them that they're not going to be super crucial to the mix. Even these little noodling tracks aren't going to be that crucial. So let's just play the song and see what happens. Again, I just love this right out of the gates.
Come on, honey.
Gonna mute the vocals for now too. All right, so this guy here, give it a bit of verb. Felt a bit tubby, so I'm gonna just bring in a little filter in. Maybe brighten it a bit. Cool. And then I'm going to compress it. I like slow attacks on acoustics. Just a bit of gain reduction. All right, let's hear that back in the mix here. So that's like the main drums. Feels pretty good. Bringing the bass again. Just going to compress the bass. Maybe a high pass filter. those acoustics back in. Oh, whoops. Bass feels a little loud. Let's go back to the start here. Okay, here I'm just going to add a little high pass just to get rid of some of that rumble. All right, I mean, already that's feeling pretty good just from like a basic balance kind of standpoint. Let's bring in these stabs here because they run for most of the song. Let's see what's happening with those. Okay, so these are supposed to be panned. And you can hear we don't need any low end, right? And probably a bit of compression's never going to hurt. Let's hear those back in context. That's sounding pretty good. Bring those down a bit. Cool. Let's bring in these rakes. I'm not even going to touch those. Nice. Let's bring in those little noodles. These guys here, and you know, I think if memory serves me correctly, I think I pan these hard left and right in the official mix. Okay, let's go over here maybe. Yeah, I mean, those sound great. I think both of them could benefit from a high-pass filter just to get rid of the rumble. Let's just kind of wing this at like 200 hertz. Should be fine. I mean, they already sound pretty good to me. And then I'm just going to turn on my compression here. And by the way, the reason that the gain reduction is kind of already dialed in, it's just the way I gain stage my tracks. I have this compressor set up to kind of receive a track that's peaking around -10. So that's why it's kind of already dialed in. The snare up just a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's already feeling pretty good to me. Let's bring in the other little instruments here and then we'll get to the vocals. These little, what is this? This is like a, well, I know it's going to be super loud just by looking at how many of them there are. Let's hear this. This is like a little bring track, I think. Yeah. So that's just supposed to be like a big kind of moment there. So I'm just going to pan all those hard left and right and balance them, and that should be good enough. Just give me a sec here. All right, let's hear those in context. Cool. I'm going to give them a little bit of extra reverb and just high pass them. For something like that, you don't even really need to compress it unless you want to try to bring out some sustain. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. All right, the guitar solo I'm gonna leave for now. These little other wada da tracks I'm just gonna leave for now. Let's bring in the vocals and see where we're at. All right, so vocals unmuted. Let's hear that. I'm gonna go ahead and pan the double and triple, and probably bring them down a bit here too.
Come on, honey.
That needs to come up.
Let's take a ride. Let's take a holiday.
All right, that's already feeling pretty good. I'm just going to throw some reverb on these because I know that I'm going to want them eventually. And on the lead vocal here, I'm just going to turn on my compression, okay, and add a high pass and just kind of reevaluate, see what happens. Let's see where we're at with that.
Come on, honey. Let's take a ride.
Feels pretty good.
Let's take a holiday.
Again, I'm going to compress the background vocals.
It's a sunny day.
Just filter them.
Let's take our time. Come on, sweetie, let's take a drive. Who knows where we'll go?
Yeah.
Cruise the country road. We'll take our time.
I mean, already I feel like that's sounding pretty good. Let me just see what the timer's at here. We're at 7:28, so we're 7 minutes in. Already kind of feeling like a song here. Let's take a look at some of those background vocals and just get them loosely in place. So we got these big, these guys here. Let's start with these guys. Whoops. What have we got here? Fly Away. So again, this is because it's got like, what is it, 8 of them. It's probably going to be far too loud. So I'm just gonna bring those all way down, and they need to be panned. In this song, I didn't really pan anything other than LCR, just left, center, right. Seemed to work. Looks like there's only 7 of them, so it's going to not be perfectly balanced. Oh well, let's hear those in solo for a second.
Fly, fly away.
Now you see in solo, I can hear a bit of boxiness, like kind of this area here, which I'm not allowed to remove because of the rules I've set, but I don't know if it matters.
Fly, fly away.
I'm going to add quite a bit of reverb to these. Let's hear them.
Fly, fly away.
Bring up the low ones a bit.
Fly, fly away.
Cool.
Fly wherever we may.
And then for these little ooh parts, it's going to be a similar sort of thing. I mean, they probably just need to be lowered and panned off from each other a bit or entirely. And these, I always imagine them super, super drenched in verb. They don't even really need to be compressed because you can look at the waveform. You know, it's already compressed. Let's hear that. Whoops. I must have been working on a different track. Let's try that again. So again, we don't really need to compress them. I just wasted valuable time. Let's hear that. Good enough for now.
I'm in love. Fly, fly away.
Let's bring in those
Let's
keys.
take a ride.
Cool.
Let's take a ride.
Those are supposed to be wet.
Let's take a ride.
Cool.
Let's take a holiday. It's a sunny day.
Now maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to snag one of these AR1s here that I probably won't even use and just move it to the mix bus. Let's see if we can get a bit of mix bus compression dialed in here.
Let's take our time.
It's going to go about 20 milliseconds and
Come on, sweetie.
don't need that much gain reduction.
Let's take a drive. Who knows where we'll go? Cruise the country road. We'll take our time. Fly, fly away. Fly wherever we may.
You know what? I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, is there more that I could do to this? Of course, you know, there is. I mean, I haven't mixed the guitar solo yet, but that won't take long. I haven't mixed these last little bitty parts here. And, you know, this thing here, I don't even remember what it is, but it's probably just more guitars that I would literally just balance.
Sweetie, let's
Yeah, I mean, it's simple stuff, right? That would just be panned. These would all just be panned, and then I'd probably just lower the volume a bit. But, you know, this set of tracks, it's just, I don't know, the production was really open to begin with.
take
Just-
a drive.
Let's just hear those quick.
Who knows where we'll go? Who knows where we'll go?
Cool. And so, you know, you don't have to do much is the point. I mean, I already think this sounds pretty good. Clearly with no automation, like some of the vocal lines are going to be lost, but, you know, and I would have to go in there and, you know, just automate things basically. But, you know, like, let's listen once again from the start here. I'm going to turn up the global reverb here a bit.
Come on, honey, let's take a ride.
And if you'll humor me, I might just grab a Pultec and see if we can get just a little bit more of a polished kind of sound. This is one of my favorite plugins for just a full mix. So let me start that back here, and we'll just do a big broad kind of 10 or 12K bump. Maybe even a bit of 60 hertz.
Come on, honey, let's take a ride. Let's take a holiday.
Turn that off.
It's a sunny day.
Sounds pretty good on and off,
Let's
but
take our time.
let's turn it back on. Yeah.
Come on, sweetie, let's take a drive. Who knows where we'll go?
Even more reverb, maybe.
Cruise the country road. We'll take our time. Fly, fly away.
Bring those down just a bit.
Fly wherever we may. Ooh, I'm in love with you. Let's take our time.
And there we have it. You know, I think, what are we at here? 13 minutes and 49 seconds. All right. So there we go. I honestly think that if you gave me another 30 minutes to just automate things and just fine tune the EQ a bit here and there, I think I could call it a day on this mix. Now, I'm really curious to compare this to my official mix now. Let's try that. All right, so here we go. We're going to do a little comparison. It's pretty easy to tell which one's which. Obviously, this one here is the official mix on the bottom here because you can tell it's been mastered. But I brought the volume way down, so to my ear, they're level matched. And this is pretty interesting. I've got a 13-minute mix that I just did compared to my official mix, which, I don't know, probably I spent 4 to 5 hours on. This was like a good year and a half ago. And let's just go back and forth and see what happens. Let's start with the official mix. Here we go.
Come on, honey, let's take a ride. Let's take a holiday. It's a sunny day. Let's take our time. Come on, sweetie, let's take a drive. Who knows where we'll go? Cruise the country road. We'll take our time. Fly, fly away. Fly wherever we may.
All right, there you have it. So there was the comparison, 13 minutes versus, 4 hours, let's call it. And, for the most part, they sound quite similar. The official mix obviously has a lot more reverb, okay? And it has more of a polished sound, less low mids, more of a sheeny kind of a thing happening, and certainly sounds more like a final product. But to be honest, like at certain times, I was actually kind of digging the drier sound and slightly more full sound of the 13-minute mix. But either way, regardless of which one you preferred, they sound very similar. You can tell I mixed both of them. Obviously, my intuition for balance was the same for both mixes. They had a lot of similarities, right? But it just goes to show that in an extremely short amount of time, I was able to get this sounding, in a lot of ways as good as the official release. If you were to give me another hour to automate and fine tune this mix, I bet you I could get it just as good. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a neat comparison. And overall, the point of this video is just to try to inspire you to move quickly and to just not overcomplicate things. I mean, literally, I did no EQ in this mix other than the Pultec boost on the mix bus and some high pass filtering. I mean, super basic stuff. The compression, I just threw it on there almost haphazardly, okay, and you know, it really just hinged on having a good balance and making some simple choices. So don't overcomplicate your lives. I hope that was interesting to watch, and we'll see you soon.